This week on SailingTrilleen, sand, polish, fill, paint. That is my life now. So welcome to what should be the last week of complete chaos on Trilleen for a while. This is the week that I've got scheduled to kind of put the bathroom back together. There's some trim stuff to varnish, and there's various other things to do, electrics mostly, and electric mountings, because I kind of want them to look nice. So that's going to be a bit more work. So actually there's quite a lot of varnishing to do, which is not my favourite thing, but needs must. There you go. And I hope to take you along with me during this week of putting things back from the utter chaos that has been created. It wasn't forecast to be raining today, but it is. So that's kind of changed the order of operations here. And I think what I'm going to do is drill through this locker front to liberate the holes which are going to be used to put the bolts through so that we can mount it up. And then I will have to think about what I do next, but I'll probably end up mounting the cork onto the back of the locker front, and that will hopefully go reasonably well. It's got to the point where I'm actually ready to start putting things onto the back of the locker to insulate it from the cold so that there's no condensation in the locker. It's certainly in older boats it wasn't common to do this, but I did it on the starboard side where during the winter of 21-22 I think, and that stood up really well, and that locker is bone dry, so I'm really excited about doing it on this side as well. What I'm going to use is this cork sheet. I can't show you the whole of it because it's huge, but it's what we call cork. So you can use cork as a core material between two lamina of glass fibre, and this is that quality of cork. It's great stuff, and it comes this stuff comes from East Coast Fiberglass, who are a really brilliant shop, and they just dispatch so quickly. So now I have to make a template for the back of the locker and cut this accurately so I don't mess it up. We're looking in here at the template. These are the bits of the template that I'm interested in, and that's what I'm going to use to cut the core cork to size. So what I'm going to do, ooh, shucks, not gripping that 1.5, is it? So what I'm going to do, ooh, it really isn't. I'm going to have to use a slightly bigger drill bit. I'm back. So what I'm going to do is put two slightly opposed holes through this stuff. Okay, one of those and one of those. Ooh, can I get them to drive though? That's the question. Okay, that's going in nicely now. Normally you wouldn't really want screws to stick through the template, but on this case it might actually help us because it'll give us an anchor into the cork when we come to cut it, if that's what we decide to do. So we've got the template built. Now we have to extract it without trashing anything. Oh, it's coming out all right. That's good. And because the template comes out, we know that the cork will go in. Here we are out on the pontoon, which is sometimes the best work surface you can find. And we're going to cut this cork. what's important here is the cork actually wants to lie flat, because if it doesn't, no amount of contact adhesive will do the job. We need to get this area masked off because we're going to be using contact adhesive, and it's really messy stuff, and you get it onto paint, you can get it off, but it ain't a fun thing to do. So yeah, mask it all off and then see where we end up. So one roll of masking tape. So this contact adhesive is seriously nasty stuff, but it does work. So the boat's kind of maximally ventilated at the moment. It's Evo stick 528, and what you need to do is brush it onto both surfaces everywhere you possibly can, and then wait until both bits are tacked off, which takes a surprisingly long time, at least at this temperature. It's about, I don't know, 10-12 degrees outside, so it's got quite good workability as a glue. So here we go. Oh, need to get that right into the corner. Right into the corner. Normally you should have a roller, and I don't have a roller, so I'm going to improvise with a tin of paint. What I'm doing now is starting to get varnish onto the cork. Now, it's not because we want the cork to be shiny, but it's because it's a very good sealer of the surface of the cork, which is what we want to do. We just want to seal the surface off so it doesn't get mouldy or anything. Actually, the cork doesn't tend to get mouldy, but it stops it atomising or coming into little bits and fragmenting, which is not something you really want. The problem is that the cork is incredibly thirsty, so we will probably go through an awful lot of varnish until we get to the point where Ian is happy. So good morning from chilly but bright Scotland. I think winter redescended last night. It was really quite cold and there was hail on the deck, so I very much stayed tucked up inside, and today I'm hoping that I'll get the taps back into the horizontal of the bathroom and probably the sink back in as well. I'm not sure how much further I'll go because those jobs are tricky, let's put it that way. The sink especially, no, not the sink, the taps especially are a pain to do. This is where the sink will go, this is where the tap goes, and this is where the hose comes through for the shower fittings thing. We're working on a live water system at the moment, which is inherently a dangerous thing to do because it could pump more than 100 litres of water sort of anywhere in the boat. So what I'm going to do is switch off the pump so that hopefully it won't do that. And then I'm going to depressurise the system in a rather crude way, simply by running the accumulator empty. I have no idea whether this is on film or not. actually working in here underneath the sink and also underneath a and it's just incredibly tight. Plus, I've just lost my spanners. Okay, well, this is fun, isn't it? Funsies. In a triumph of mechanical engineering design that I wouldn't have expected from a first year engineering student, you have to remove the pipes from the bottom of this tap because when they're all together, actually you have to remove all of them, don't you, because you can't get a nut off, I remember now. The diameter of the pipes and their collars is larger than the diameter of the internal of the nut that goes through the hole. So essentially, in order to do any maintenance on this, the whole thing has to come apart. It does make for a pleasingly compact tap, but ultimately it also makes for really not very convenient things. So yes, this is the bottom of the tap, and we're going to bond in these two first and then the one at the back. Okay, so the system's pressurised up. The pressurisation pump has stopped, which is a good sign that there aren't any gross leaks going on. Not entirely happy with that. There's a little bit of water around that one. I need to dry those off and check them in a minute. Thanks for watching. I hope at some point soon I'll be able to fill you in on the news about what's happening with the mast and dates and stuff, but at the moment I just don't have enough certainty to publish anything or even to do any real planning, which is very frustrating because it makes the rest of this season really tricky. And I also hope that at some point I might be able to show you something other than Ian sanding, polishing, filling, varnishing, but that is my life, and these are kind of video postcards about what's going on, and I think it's really important that those of you who are watching sailing videos thinking, oh, that's nice, see what the reality is, especially with an older boat. But I think any boat, you spend a lot of your time looking after the boat, caring for yourself, looking after the boat, and just generally doing boat work. The boat work varies, and that's exciting, but it's still work, and it has to be done in order to keep the boat on top line.